welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Jessi, also known as Miss Cherry, and today we're doing a Run Disney centered video. I'm going to be talking about the top 10 things to do in order to survive a Disney runcation or a Run Disney event. Now, I have done two Run Disney events in the past, 4 half marathons in total, and I have learned a lot of things over the years, especially on my Disney Runcations, and I thought it would be nice to kind of go over like what I do to prep and what I do during the race and what products I use and things that are absolute must-haves for a half marathon and also for aftercare and for having the best Disney vacation kind of after that. And so we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it. So let's get started in this list. I will say that this video is in concert with my fellow fairy godrunners, which are 3 other Bibbidi brand reps, and Bibbidi is a Disney mystery box company, but they also have a Disney inspired athletic line called Be by Bibbidi, and we all represent their company, and we all came together this year to go on this journey to Run Disney and this journey to the Wine and Dine half marathon, which unfortunately due to 2020 is a virtual half marathon, so we actually don't get to all go and hang out in Walt Disney World together, which is a little bit of a bummer. We have created a virtual race weekend that we're putting online that includes Instagram, where we are doing a costume contest, and then we're doing a live after party after race party. And so if you're interested in registering for that, all of the registration information is going to be listed down below. It's completely free. We're just doing it for the fun of it. But anyway, let's move on to this list. It's in order of before the race, during the race, and after the race. So the first tip that I have is, if you are in Disney, whatever you do not do a full park day the day before your race. It's not a good idea. Disney is really, really hard on your feet, as most of you know. If you're watching this video, you've probably been to Disney or have experienced Disney World, and walking on that hard concrete for a significant amount of steps is really, really hard on your feet, hard on your calves, hard on your legs, and it can become very tiresome and make your legs very tiresome before a race, which you definitely do not want to do. Number 2 tip is test out everything before your race. Do not try anything new the day before or the day of your race. I'm talking products, I'm talking rituals, I'm talking food. Now, specifically if you're in Disney, I would highly suggest not going out and branching out food-wise when it comes to the night before your race. Oftentimes you read a lot about carb loading, which I personally have had a bad experience with carb loading. During my first half marathon, I believe it was, I was told, you know, you really need to carb up, you need to have a lot of carbs. And so when I think carbs, I'm like, oh, okay, we'll have some pasta. Well, I personally never eat pasta. It's never something that I ate. And it actually gave me an extremely upset stomach the next morning. And so it was, I know it had a little bit to do with nerves, but it also definitely had to do with me eating something that is not even a thing in my diet. And I think it's so important. Your body is going to want familiarity. It's not only a test of your physicality, but it's a test of your mentality as well. And so when you're in a race, I really feel like your body wants to be comfortable and your mind wants to be comfortable and also focused. And so for me, having any distractions that could possibly throw off my stomach or throw off my mental state, I would like to avoid at all costs. So that's why I always test out products, and I always test out the meal that I'm going to have before the race. And I've actually found out that I perform much better when I go for a steak with like a potato as a side for my carb load. My body just processes protein a little bit easier than it processes pasta because it's used to having steaks and protein in that way. So don't throw your body off before you race is what I'm trying to say. The third tip is get a foam roller. If you don't have a foam roller, especially if you're going on a runcation, you can get the miniature foam rollers. This thing is incredible for recovery and also for stretching before and getting out all of those knots, possible sore spots in your body. And this is a travel foam roller. Usual big foam rollers are, you know, pretty large. This I found in the Target dollar section during the New Year's like get fit time frame. This thing is incredible. It weighs like nothing, and so it's easy to pack into a suitcase, and let me tell you, this thing will change how you train. I prefer the larger one, but because I'm a larger person, I'm 5'10", and I'm a bigger lady, but these do work in a pinch, and especially while you're traveling. So I will leave down below. I've had a couple of you ask like what I do for foam rolling, and I'm just gonna leave a YouTube video down below to show you a tutorial on how to use these things and how properly to get the tension out of your muscles. It's life changing and training changing. The fourth survival tip or product is goo. G-U. They are called goo packets. I love these for energy. They're basically an electrolyte gel that you can take while you run or while you're doing anything strenuous physically. And the thing I love about goo is that when you are in the pace of where you're feeling like, okay, I'm gonna need to slow down, that's when you have a goo, and it just like replenishes your body, or that's what it does for me. And so I'm a big proponent of trying it out. Again, I wouldn't try it out during a race. When I was in Disneyland running, they actually gave out these packets, but the only flavor that they had was coffee. And oh my gosh, I did not like the taste of that. It was terrible. And I was just like trying to like get the flavor out of my mouth because it had like this overwhelming like chocolate coffee scent, and I was running and it was gross. It was gross, and it threw me off when I was running, which was so silly. I was like, could not stop thinking of it. So what I have to say is if you want to try a couple of different flavors and see what you like, it's worth putting them in your pack and taking them with you. Now I do have a little fanny pack. It's like made of this really stretchy material. I'll link it down below if you're interested in seeing what it is. But basically it's like this little strip of fanny pack, and then it expands so you can put like as much or as little as you want in there. And I love that thing, and I usually bring 4 goo packets with me. Inside of there, my inhaler and also my cell phone, and it all fits in there just nicely. So the next tip or product is Glide and Chafing Friction Deoderant, I think is what I would call this. Basically, this is the Gold Bond Friction Defense. This is used for like thighs, butt, arms, those sorts of things. Something that I did not realize when I did my second marathon was that it's much hotter in Disney World than it is in other places like Disneyland, and I actually found that my sports bra chafed a little bit just from the sweat and from the friction. So I used this on my next marathon half marathon that I did, and it was really helpful. So this can really be placed anywhere on your body, so I would highly suggest this Gold Bond type. It's unscented, and I recently went to Disney World, and this is what I used for all sorts of thigh rub, and it was perfect. So it's a great $5 investment. I'll link it down below if you're interested in taking a peek at that. The next version I like is Glide. This is for her, and this is called Foot Glide. I bought these at Target. They're actually the same exact formula, same exact thing, so don't worry about it being one or the other. I prefer to use this glide on my feet only. This I'll use for my entire body. This I will use for just feet. An anti-blister stick. And so what it will do is if you want to place it in the areas where you could possibly get a hot spot, that's what I would do. I use this before and during my race if I'm having any hot spots. Basically the second I feel a hot spot, whether that be before my race or during my race, I will actually stop and place this on. It weighs about as much as I would say a chapstick or two. It's pretty light, but it is a lifesaver. And again, this is another essential that I have in Disney that I actually keep in my emergency pack in my day bag. So I love this product. I've been using it for years and it is definitely worth the money. Survival product number 6. This was one that I never thought that I would ever need, but once I got it, I could never ever go back. And that is my Smart Wool running socks. I also have Belega running socks. I think that's how you say it, but basically they are socks that are fitted for a right and left foot. They have extra arch support and they also have a taller back half of them, so they actually go over and above where your running shoes hit your heel. Now I know you're thinking, Jessi, socks really? Socks really. These socks have like a small cushion underneath the ball of your feet and on the heel of your foot, and having that extra compression around your arch really helps hold your feet into place as you're running. Changing to these socks has really improved my foot health. I used to get a lot of like fatigue in my feet, and this has helped it immensely. Now let's talk aftercare. After the race, what are the things that you can do to enhance your experience? So number 7, Epsom salts. Now, one of the best ways to ease soreness, muscle pain, bruising is to take a 20-minute Epsom salt bath. Now, I bring Epsom salts with me on every Disney Runcation. I bring at least 3 of them, at least, and what I mean by that is that I take a Ziploc bag and I place 1 cup of Epsom salts into the bag in each individual baggie. 1 Ziploc baggie of Epsom salt is equal to 1 bath. So 1 cup of Epsom salt to 1 bath. And then if you set a timer for 20 minutes, then you are soaked in there and done. And oh my gosh, it is such a good feeling afterwards. And you will definitely notice within the next day how much better you're feeling after an Epsom salt bath. And the other thing is that if you don't feel like getting into a bath, you can also just soak your feet in it, and it just helps ease the soreness and pain in your body. And so you can use it for a foot bath or you can use it for a regular bath. It's a really inexpensive and easy way to help make your body feel better after a race, and so I would highly suggest doing that. The next item is product number 8, and that is a foot massager or ball. Now you may be wondering, why do you have a Mickey baseball? Well, when I was in Disneyland and I ran the Tinkerbell half marathon, I forgot my foot massager at home, and so I went down to the gift shop and I was like, I know this is a weird question, but do you have a ball? And they were like, we've got Mickey baseballs. And I was like, And this has been my lucky half marathon baseball ever since. And so every half marathon that I've ever done, this is the ball that I use to massage my feet out. And basically you place the ball of your foot onto it and roll it around to kind of ease the pressure and tension in your feet and give your feet a rest. It's such a lifesaver, and it was kind of a cute souvenir. I wouldn't count on it being there because I have not seen Disneyland or Disney World baseball since I purchased this. I'm sure they still exist, but it's been a while since I've seen one in the stores. But a football can definitely help. Number 9 is a product that I recently fell in love with over the last couple of years, and this is the Liquid IV. It's basically like a Powerade, but it's in powder form and it tastes really good. And this one is like completely organic, non-GMO. And it has a really cool development story actually. So if you ever want to like read about a cool story of how they started a business, this company has a neat story. But I prefer lemon lime everything. And so this comes in lemon lime. I usually put a pack of 25 of these into my bag to take with me on Disney trips, and runcations are an absolute must because it is difficult to stay hydrated in Disney, especially when you have those long park days. The last but not least tip is bring a different pair of running shoes or walking shoes. So after you run a half marathon, typically you are not going to want to put on those same shoes that you ran 13 miles in the day before or during that day. It is like torture putting your feet back into those type of shoes. So if you're doing a Disney runcation, I would highly suggest bringing a completely different pair of shoes to wear into the park the next day. Just don't put your feet through that torture of being placed right back into that poor little sad shoe that's been run on for 13 miles. So those are my 10 tips for surviving a Run Disney staycation and Run Disney event. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have tips for someone who is doing their first Run Disney event or a Run Disney runcation, please leave them down below. Also let me know how you are doing in your training, and if you're going to be joining us for the Fairy Godrunners It's Good to Be Bad virtual race weekend. That sounds official, doesn't it? If you are interested in registering, all that information is going to be down below. Go check out Be by Bibbidi and their Disney inspired athletic line. And I had so much fun hanging out with you guys. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and also be sure to subscribe down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. TTFN! Bye!